So, how about making this tedious task of selecting images a little bit easier? We all know, as a photographer, the hassle of selecting images. You've had an excellent shoot and you're getting home with 500, 800,000 images. How about making this tedious task of selecting images a little bit easier? There's one thing you should stop doing, and that is selecting on the negatives. And with negatives, I don't mean negatives in a photographic sense of speaking, but I mean negatives on negative aspects of the image at hand. When you were a school kid, 16-year-old, and your teacher only pointed at your faults. You did this wrong, you did that wrong, you should retake this and that's not good, etc., etc. You would probably call this teacher a moron or get some hate towards him. And I see a lot of photographers and also photography students, adult students, doing exactly the same thing with their own images. So stop doing that. They shift to their images and they only point out what is not good. And in pointing out what is not good, they actually say to themselves, this is not the image that I'm going to select. But the result is going to be twofold, I think. First of all, you'll need a hell of a lot of time to go through all those images, because you need to address all the negative aspects of each and every image. And that's a tedious task. And secondly, you will probably feel bad about your images, because you keep naming what is not good. It's not sharp, it's not well lit, the exposure is wrong, composition is bad, maybe if you're working with models, pose is not good, this and that and yeah. So you keep on repeating why an image is not good for you. Wouldn't it be a lot better if you just picked the good images and forget about all the other ones? So rule number 1 in selecting images: select by positive discrimination. So from now on, you will no longer look at what's wrong with your images, but you will only select the best images. And I'm going to show you how I do this. Come along. So let's say I wanted to select the images from the piano session I did with Alison Nina. I posted a video on YouTube from one part of this session with Alison with the dogs. But let's recap and see how this complete set looks like and what are the images that I would keep. first of all, I work in Lightroom. Yeah, I import all the images in Lightroom, and sometimes I convert them to DNG, the digital negative files. Sometimes I don't. So in this case, they are all raw files, Canon raw files, and sometimes I convert them to black and white before selecting. Sometimes I just select while the images are in color. So what is my my preferred way of selecting the images? Actually, I often use the film strip as an extra tool to select images, but the idea is to select all images that are more or less in the same setting and the same pose. So in this case, I would, for instance, in the film strip, well, these are two preparatory images, so nothing's happening here, but then the shoot starts. So in this particular set of images, Alison is standing profile to me, and she is looking at the score, at the piano score. So I take all the images together that are more or less the same pose, the same setting, etc. So here she turns back to me. This image I will handle later. Next thing that I do in Lightroom is I choose for the comparative